Well, with that, Dave Cutler, welcome to the basement.
I like it.
You like it? Well, we are here in the basement. I am Sam Schneider. I am Bad Beard. This is Bad Beard's podcast, a wonderful show where I get to talk to interesting folks. And today's interesting folk is Dave Cutler, who just this last, Tuesday?
Yeah.
We got to watch the premiere of One Fast Move.
Woo!
Stunt coordinated, bike wrangler, Dave Cutler here. Tell me about it. So what was the movie, what brought us together on that fine day?
Oh, wow. Finally, after 2 years. So we filmed the movie 2 years ago, almost to the day. It was crazy.
Yeah.
In the Georgia summer heat, in the leathers, on the track, Road Atlanta, Michelin Raceway. Yeah, I can still remember it like it was yesterday. It was brutal, but it was fun. Yeah, man, we set out to try to take this thing we all love of motorcycles and, motorcycles on the street, motorcycles on the track, just this thing we love, motorcycles, that most people think we're crazy for doing. And we just set out to finally get something out there for the public that had heart and passion in it. And
Real racing.
Real racing. Oh, man. Real racing.
Yeah. Well, and so to take a step back, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and give a little background into who Dave Cutler is and why you were in charge of that fantastic film, One Fast Move.
Okay. Thank you. Dave Cutler. I was an ex-action sports athlete turned into a stuntman for movies and film. The athlete side was, from a little kid racing dirt bikes into street bikes, into racing on track. And then, it just kind of naturally took me into the film industry eventually. Oh, I did go from racing to stunt riding.
Stunting on bikes?
Yeah, like the wheelies, the endos, the drifting.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I was stuck there, the right place, right time, when it was actually just coming about, like back in like the 2000s, early 2000s. And we kind of invented a lot of the stuff, invented a lot of the tricks. And
this is in Florida?
This was in Florida,
Back
yeah.
in Florida, okay.
So I was born and raised in Virginia, and that's where I raced dirt bikes and stuff like that a little bit. And then we moved to Florida, and riding in sand was just a different animal, and I was not set up for that. I was used to like squaring the turns off and like real tight arena cross style tracks, and Florida sand was like pin it to win it, wide open, berm it, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not used to that.
Uh-huh.
So my dad was like, you want to try something with the most traction? I'm like, what's that? He's like, street bikes. I went, oh yeah, let's go.
Okay, Dad.
Yeah, Dad was cool. Dad bought me my first street bike, Yamaha R6.
Okay.
When I was 17. Rode it to high school.
Oh, your dad's a psycho. Got it.
Well, it was
Different time.
a different time. Yeah, it was. He knew I was pretty good on it. He knew I had a level head. I wasn't gonna be stupid and go real fast. Without being strategic. And the rest is kind of this history. It's pretty crazy.
So you went Virginia here, picked up a little more street. And then you turned street into track days, and then into stunt riding,
Yep.
and then into stunt performer.
Correct.
And so where was the start of stunt performing?
So I got a random phone call in 2014. It was just like from a coordinator, and he was like, hey, I saw a video of you. I don't even remember whether it was YouTube or social media or what we even had back then, in 14. But I saw a random video of you, and some other people said they knew you, and you fit the bill, so I need you to come in and ride a motorcycle for a movie. And, it was nothing really crazy at first, the first one, but it was, I was actually riding a Triumph, so the shifter and brake lever was reversed, and then I had a stunt girl on the back, and it was like raining and wet and this, and it was just, it wasn't crazy, but it was fun. It was different, and that's how I got tafted.
That was the bug that bit you.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I grew up wanting to be a professional athlete.
Uh-huh.
You know, I thought about movies. I thought movies were cool, but I mean, honestly, I can tell you what got me into even dirt bikes. I believe I saw Robbie Knievel on a little dirt bike, pit bike or whatever, doing wheelies at one of the Knievel jumps. And I don't know if it was a rerun or whatever. It was so long ago. I think I was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my dad, I was like, I want a dirt bike. I didn't even know they made dirt bikes that small. You know, and I was like, I want one. And then I found out that my dad raced. And then I found out that my grandfather raced. And it just kind of in the blood, I guess. So, yeah, that just kind of started it. And he bought me my first bike at 5 years old, and I just never stopped.
Yeah, you haven't looked back.
Yeah.
So with stunt working where it is now, you still have to perform at a top athlete, you know, level to do what you do. And then bringing us full circle back to the movie, like it was featuring top level racers. You were out at Rose Motor Speedway, Road Atlanta, and these are real tracks for real racers.
Yeah. I wasn't even aware that the Speedway was a track back in the day, like that the bikes used to go on.
Oh.
And it's not the oval portion that NASCAR goes on, but it's like the inner track that they race, like I think Legends, and I always knew that as just a way like to get to and from in the inner field.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like when the racers came in, they're like, yeah, we used to race here back in the day. They don't do it anymore, but like it was so fun. They were like, there's like this bump hill that you can kind of get some air on, and they were loving it. It was a lot of fun. And then Road Atlanta is probably Road Atlanta and Road America, man. In my opinion, those are probably some of the fastest tracks in America for this kind of level of riding. Like obviously MotoGP and
that's the next step up for these tracks.
So in the movie, we were club racing. So it's the introduction to racing, which would be, you know, the twin class and then the like WERA and some of the other sanctions. And the club racing is basically the start. It's still you're paying to actually be in it.
This is like a privateer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, privateer, and then you can start picking up sponsors. They can start seeing you, seeing if you got any talent, and it kind of goes from there if you're lucky. But yeah, that's kind of where you start, and that's where we started in the movie. As real as you could go, right?
Yeah. Well, and so the story in One Fest Move, it follows the timeline of was it KJ?
KJ
Appa, and he's our lead, and he shows up in a town. He's new in town. That he's like, I guess it wouldn't be a spoiler alert. He's looking to reconnect with his dad in some capacity,
right?
But he's using racing as his way to kind of bridge that gap, right?
Correct.
And so he starts. He's a racer. Spends some time behind bars. Gets back behind the wheel of his own bars, I suppose. And that's kind of the whole jump off of the film. Like that's what we get to embark on with that.
Yeah, he gets in trouble at the beginning of the movie, and on a bike. And when he gets out, he doesn't really have anything, doesn't know where to go, and he knew his, long lost father that wasn't in the picture. He knew that he was into racing, and so he went as his last resort, basically, to try to find him and try to, obviously had a lot of time to think, getting in trouble. So he had a lot of time to think about what should I do with my life, and so yeah, he sought out his dad, and his dad was still racing, and kind of, I don't want to give too much away if nobody's seen it yet, or these people haven't seen it yet, but yeah, it just kind of naturally, that progression where a lot of us have this similar story, similar family drama story, similar, how you got into racing. Did you just naturally have talent, were you fast but stupid, and then you needed something to put it into so you wouldn't get in trouble anymore.
Right.
I mean, I'm guilty, very similar stories, not exactly the same, the father-son thing and all, but there's similarities from me and my family and stuff.
Well, and so with the film, was it really a specific focus to do a very honest approach to how racing works? You wanted it to be authentic.
100%.
So what was the detail that went into that? Was that like consulting folks? Like what was the attention to detail specific to that?
So Kelly, the director, Kelly Blatz, he wrote the script and then he directed it as well. He just had this passion for motorcycles. He got into it a little later, as he said in many interviews, and he wrote this script, and he was like, why isn't there, a motorcycle movie like this? Why isn't there a racing movie like this? And there's scripts. There are motorcycle movie scripts, but I think more of them lean more to racing and like it's more kind of documentary-ish feeling when those
a little
scripts
more
read.
lifestyle, less like actual rubber meets pavement.
Yeah, per se. And so he just hit a niche on this really good script where it had both worlds, like the drama of the family drama and then also the drama of the racing. And so it I think number one, everybody's say across the board was as authentic as we possibly can film it. Mm-hmm. And we all kind of ran with that. And it turned out to be really authentic.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I don't want to trail off too much, so help me out with
No, I'm curious
again.
where you're going to take it. So the racers that you had on, you have, you out there are doubling. Right. Who are some of the other names that you have out there that, like, they have the pedigree, they've been in series, like club series and then above it? Like, who are some of the guys?
So we were trying to figure out, how to make this movie, right? And I always had it in my head from day one, and me and a lot of other people too, mm-hmm. Right? We always had it in our head that we're like, I would love to see the guys that I watched, 10, 15 years ago. There's so many names, but like the pro guys when I was into it and I was younger, and like my vision in my head was like, if you get the character Wes mm-hmm. passing, the big names that were the champions, like I would just go googly, with goosebumps of seeing those names flash by. So the hardest thing, we filmed it during racing season. So it was super difficult to get any of those guys because a lot of those are still either in the sport mm-hmm. or they now manage or coach or they own, race teams or, they're announcers or whatever, right? So yeah, it was we reached out to all of them and it was very difficult. Most people could not come in. And so the thought process came where we were like, hey, just like every other movie, Days of Thunder and Gran Turismo and, all the racing movies, Ford versus Ferrari, all of them, right?
Yeah.
They all have kind of the same format. You have to go to the real races and film the pits and film the people and film real racing as kind of some background stuff and all that. And while we were there, Kelly Blatz, myself showed up, the small Splinter Unit film crew showed up to kind of film these races. And we had to just film the 600 class because that's what we were doing in the movie.
Yeah.
We were on 600s. So while we were there, we were checking out like the pits. We were getting ideas, like Kelly's vision.
What series were you going into? Was this like Moto America? This was like local or?
We were at Wira.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were at a Wira race at the track mm-hmm. at Road Atlanta. And, it was just the perfect vision that Kelly was imagining. It was, instead of big rigs and the semis and the this and the teams, it was mom and pop shops.
Unload the truck.
Yeah, man.
Can I borrow your ramp?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pop-up tents, pickup trucks. That's the club racing heart. Mm-hmm. That's what he wanted. That's what the feel was. And we were able to go talk to a bunch of those racers since a lot of them were local. And it was just like, hey, you look good out there. Your bike looks pretty cool. You interested in doing this, being in this movie? And man, just an overwhelming support and interest in the movie. being a part of it.
Oh, of course. I'd be curious, from my vantage point, having kind of coexisted in the motorcycle space. Like, I'm not a racer. I didn't grow up riding, and so much the same. I feel like I started late in my career riding. But from what I understood, as far as motocross and all these different series, like it's the privateers that push the sport forward. It's the privateers that keep it, the chain greased up. There's the guys, the top few dudes that make millions of bucks, and good for them.
Right.
But everybody else is paying to play.
Yeah.
And that's not specific to arena cross, motocross. It's all of it. Like every different series has these guys that show up every weekend on their own accord, borrow wrenches from their buddy, just to keep it going, keep it around the track.
It's pretty consistent, yeah, like across the board too. And even being the privateer, you're putting all your own money in. Your families are mortgaging their homes, 2-3 times, just in hopes that you have talent. You know what I mean? Like, and so many fall off because they just can't hang with that level. And then, but that is where you get. Travis Pastrana was that way. His family, his entire, his dad and his 6 brothers or whatever, and construction company and all that, they band together to get Travis in the races, and we know how that took off.
Yeah,
and,
too bad he wasn't any good.
Yeah. But like that's the privateer, man. Those are the ones you like to watch. Those are the ones you like to root for. It's the Rocky story kind of thing. The underdog, the young gun, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's where it starts. That's where this first movie, I'll say, starts. And it makes the most sense. Club racing. You get into it to just see, number one, are you interested? Do you have the skill? Are you interested? Do you love this? Because you have to love it to continue with it, because it just gets harder from there. But yeah, we got a bunch of the racers from there, and then we reached out to as many people as we could. So a bunch of people came in. I met some really good people on this one. Lifelong friends now. And it was difficult.
Yeah.
Making this movie was difficult in so many ways. The heat, the time constraints.
Hot? What, you think Atlanta's hot? As I'm sitting here, see-through shirt dripping from trying to clean this I've been calling it aquarium.
Yeah.
My swamp of a basement, yeah.
Hey, I like it.
It looks cool, but you guys can't smell it. If this was smell-o-vision, we'd have a different show.
That's not bad. No, it's not bad. You've done a really good job.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I've been in worse.
There's a lot more work to be done, but and plenty of time to do it.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot of hurdles and roadblocks, as it were.
There was. I mean, just the magnitude of the speed. Just the speed. Like, because, again, we all were in this mindset, authentic.
Yeah.
How do we make this authentic? How do we not film this and have to speed it up?
Yeah.
How do we, put an actor on a bike, really put him on a bike at speeds?
How was KJ before the film?
Oh, dude, I love that dude so much. And Kelly. We all became like 3 brothers, kind of thing. And KJ, I tell you what, KJ comes from Riverdale. He plays Archie from Riverdale, and he's got bright red hair, and he's such a different character in there. And that man came in ready to work. He put the time in, I'm telling you. A year before, if not 2 years before, he started riding motorcycles. And he started learning to ride motorcycles. And the first day, they're like, okay, KJ, and it's, we say APA in America, but it's APA. Because he's New Zealand.
Okay.
Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, shit, he's got like an accent?
Oh, totally.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah.
Step one.
Yes. So, yes, he has an accent, and
Wow.
he did great. And it was funny. He almost stayed in character the whole time of filming.
Yeah.
I think to keep that accent going and make sure it was...
Yeah, definitely easier to keep that buttoned
it was
up.
flawless. And... I think being around me, I have a little bit of twang, but I try to do pretty good pronunciating.
Yeah.
To not be my southern twang that I used to have. But I get around my buddy Bill Dixon from Hazard, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes
comes
out.
right out, yeah.
So KJ had a little bit of southern, but mostly just a good American accent, and he did a very good job. But he came in ready.
Yeah.
That first thing, like, Dave, you're going to get the actor, and we're going to put him on the bike for the first time. He says he knows how to ride.
Yeah.
And I'm rolling the eyes, and I'm going, "How every actor says that, and they can't do anything." And
I rode a scooter in Panama one time.
this is the story. So, I mean, my cousin had a 125 dirt bike when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what
Quads
I'm saying?
count though too, right? Yeah.
And so, but dude, I still said to this day, was so pleasantly surprised. I was so happy. He came in and we put him on, I believe, the Triumph Daytona very first day. It was I think he rode that and the Gixxer 1000.
Same day?
Same day.
Okay.
So the first day that he came in, first day we had him to see what he could do.
You guys do full leathers?
No.
Just like hop on, see how it feels. Let's just.
I put him in a helmet and I put him in like an over jacket, right?
Yeah.
Just with a little bit of padding. And I was like in a parking lot. I was like, go down and back.
Yeah.
And he was great. Down, back, this, that. And I was like, all right, let's work on a couple of cool things.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is some of the stuff we'll be doing. I said, you're going to need to be able to put the kickstand up and down sexy. Right? Like you've done it a million times. And he's like, I like that, sexy. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, the easiest way, pick it up. I was like, and kick that heel. And he did it, and it looked great, and he does it in the movie, perfect. And the same thing about putting it down, the heel, boop.
See, you bring up just doing the kickstand that you look cool versus looking like an idiot. This bike, Frank, I got it on 6 Underground, I believe it was called. It was a Michael Bay movie. And it was another one of those. This is before I was working over here in Atlanta, and so I hadn't dealt with any other coordinators or just actors claiming to ride that do not. Sure enough, the actor, and I don't recall his name. I think he was like a handsome Latin man from somewhere, but he gets on it, he says, "Oh, this is different than I'm used to. I can't find the kickstand."
Right.
As if it's hiding.
Right.
And so we had to build an entire piece for him to find, to extend the kickstand out just so he could find it. But that did not stop him from dropping it.
Twice. Oh, yeah. It's the number one thing, because every bike, the kickstand is different. It's in a different place. It's got a different way. It's got a whole different bracket, everything, right? So I got him on that, and he picked it right up.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I did, I was like, you're going to need to be able to take off very hot and come in hot to a stop.
Yeah.
And he loved sliding the back tire to a stop. He loved it. He saw me sliding it around and this and that. He loved it. He picked right up on it. It was so great to see. I was like, we're good. Yeah. I mean, I think we did an hour with him that first day, and I'm like, we're good.
That was your initial meeting?
That was our initial meeting.
Oh, okay, great.
I was like, and he came in without the red hair, because the Archie hair, and he was going to dye it, and he came in with the military buzz cut, right? Like shaved head. And they all come up to me just worried. How do you feel about buzzing your hair to match? And I went, oh yeah, in this Georgia heat, I will totally do that. Mm-hmm. So, and when I did it, we looked like brothers.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Everybody's like, oh my God, y'all look so much alike. And we actually started calling each other brother, on set and this and that. And I was like, this is my younger, better looking brother.
How old is he?
He's 20. He was 27 at the time. I believe he was 27 at the time 2 years ago. So I think he's 28, 29, somewhere in there. I haven't asked him in a while, but yeah, I think he's around that. So yeah, I'm a little older than him. Yeah, but
he's your younger brother. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Younger, better looking brother.
That's subjective. Okay.
He came in ready to look the part.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he came in with 2 extra abs. And we're like, how in the world is that possible? I mean, he didn't have a 6-pack. He had like a 12-pack. It was like, and I remember them asking me, they're like, so can you get to where you can look like him? I'm like, no. I'm like,
what year is it?
Yeah, I'm like, it's not possible. I was like, but it's okay. I was like, we'll never ride without a jacket. I was like, insurance won't even let us do that. So, and I have to crash, and they're like, oh, yeah, okay. So,
what was the VFX budget for that? You could just like CGI and some extra too.
Well, I wish. Can we do that on all my films, please?
Yeah.
Dad bod. But no, but that was the thing. We were just like, we didn't have a special effects CGI budget. We had to do it practical.
Did KJ also produce on this picture?
He ended up. I saw that he ended up being one of the executive producers and stuff. I didn't know that at the time. I don't know if he was from the beginning, but like he ended up being one. Yeah. Yeah,
because I didn't know going into it. Obviously, I hadn't seen the movie before. Because to go into a motorcycle, it's such a specific genre to pick, and then to be able to do it, like that's what I like about motorcycles is that it's like you can bullshit all day about riding. You either can or you cannot.
Right.
And you find out very quickly, or you crash and die. And so for the movie itself to go into that, I didn't know if it was his passion project, and now you hear about Kelly and all that, makes sense. And then to see that he had produced, I was like, oh, maybe this has been their baby for a while, that maybe he was a racer or whatever, but it all makes sense now.
Yeah. From what I know is that they had met like a year or so prior. And from what I understand, KJ's first motorcycle, his first ride on a motorcycle was actually the director's, Kelly Blatz.
Oh, okay.
So Kelly actually said, come over and put him on his bike. And then I believe that KJ has had more like a bobber style bike. And so when he came in, the only difference was...
Was it also a Triumph?
I don't know. So Kelly's first bike was a Triumph.
Okay.
And that was the bike that he put KJ on at first, I believe. I don't know as far as the bobber. Don't know if it was a Triumph or if it was more like a Harley. Okay. Not sure. But I knew it was more bobber-ish because the one thing he said, he's like, I'm not used to leaning over and feet, back like the bikes. And I was like, you just take your time. Everything's the same. It's just a little different feel. Mm-hmm. You picked it up good though. A lot of people don't know that the whole intro of the movie. So after he gets in trouble, and then him venturing to find his father, that's all him.
Okay.
That's all him riding a GSXR Suzuki 1000, which he loved that bike. No helmet. So it's funny. We had to wait till the last day. Basically, everybody wrapped. It was the last day that they had, and that's when he could ride without a helmet. Because before then, it was like, no way, no how. And I'm glad they got those shots because it shows, because I've had a lot of calls about it. Like, I can't believe he's riding out without a helmet. That just shows, ignorance and this and that. I said, that's the point.
Whatever.
I said,
we're from Florida. Whatever.
Well, the point was though is like he was kind of like a punk kid, hooligan. Finding his way, and like it was like that life going into structured racing and trying to be focused and. Well,
and that with the little tag team between dad and son when they were just out on the road.
Yeah.
And that was that conversation of just, are you hot dogging? I'm not even 10% out here.
Exactly. Exactly. He was going for it.
Yeah.
And the dad's barely doing anything, and it's like, what are you thinking, kid? This is not how this works. Yeah. You're gonna get yourself killed and all. And so that played very well. I'm glad they did that. That played very well up to the character of he just doesn't think about these things until finding his dad and then going into the track.
When nothing jumped out at me as not being authentic or real to what I was watching. The only gripe I had was I think it was in that opening sequence or even just often when he would just throw his helmet on and he didn't have a visor or whatever, but then he would ride off without any glasses, and I'm like, what? And then he hits 25 and he's like, like his water eyes are just dumping. I'm like, you could be as cool as you want. You hit speed with no eye protection, you're just gonna be like squinting.
Yep.
It just made me chuckle.
Yeah, in the faster stuff or whatever, he wore those, burgundy red glasses or whatever, and that was kind of the thing. But like for the night scene, you can't see in them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to do all of that with no glasses on and just the dirt in my eyes, the sand crashing in them.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Well, you just know, like sometimes where the wind just hits like your pupil and it just dumps water.
Oh yeah, dude, I can't even to this day ride without a helmet. And it's nothing to do with the helmet thing. It's literally the wind in my eyes. I'm just like, it's just terrible. I've doubled on other movies without helmets, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? But yeah, I think it all played to the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once again,
Absolutely. Well, and then what? Tell me about the relationship with Triumph.
So Triumph, okay. Let me kind of rewind back into pre-production. We prepped this movie in 4 weeks.
Oh.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They're like, we have 4 weeks. I'm like, come again? So we have all the bikes, we have all the gear, we have everything, right? And they're like, no.
That's what you do.
Yeah, they're like, and I'm like, okay, who's the picture car company? And they're like, we don't have one yet. And I'm like,
they go, picture cars, we're using motorcycles.
yeah. I'm like, who, what, where, when, how? I mean, all this just flowing through my head. And it ended up to where I didn't want to. I said I don't want to. I said it would be too much, and I just ended up having to step up and help in that realm. But getting back to Triumph, so Kelly had Triumph from the start, right? Or had the idea that he wanted Triumph as the main hero bike at the end. Like his first bike was a Triumph. Kelly's wife, Evangeline, who's an amazing person, love her to death. She has a background with Triumph. I think she was either one of their social media influencers and like did write-ups and like she worked with Triumph for many years. So that was kind of a no-brainer for Kelly and them and Triumph, that relationship to bring him in. And they do a lot of good things in film. Triumph has been in a lot of movies.
Glass Onion, you see that?
What's that?
They had that bike out in Glass Onion.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Well, and like it fit too. So there's a lot of things that happen, which is crazy. But so Triumph, he kind of had Triumph. We had some pre-meetings with them, and there was a little bit of convincing, with Triumph, just the last little bit of dotting the I's, crossing the T's. But yeah, it was said that the Triumph Daytona was going to be the hero bike at the end. And we ran into a little bit of issues in prep because of the time constraint. I could not find the factory bodywork for it. I could get the tail. I could not find because that bike is not made anymore. And then like companies are like, we don't need to produce and have in stock this bodywork anymore. So in the time constraint, I couldn't get the bodywork. Well, what I could get is I could get a set of MotoGP Moto 2 bodywork from Germany. It's a company called Moto 2 Styles.
You're like, listen, I need more money.
Oh, well, the funny thing is so, again, me at first not wanting to be that into the movie as far as like doing my hand in all these spots, which is not normal. It's not normal that I'm the stunt guy. I'm here to ride. I'm here to, help with that aspect. And it just ended up we had no choice, and I had connections. I was a sponsored athlete. I called every one of my sponsors. And from back in the day, I still had a great relationship with them because I did what I said I would do for them for years. And I was like, hey, doing this movie, that's the thing. Trying to make it as authentic as possible. Need your help. And I said, look, you don't have to sponsor the movie, but I'd love you to partner. I'd love to get your name, your recognition, your logos, your all this kind of stuff in here. I said, the movie needs it. We need all of that to make it authentic. Man, every single one of them stepped up and was like, we'll give you 40% off, 50% off, 60% off. I mean, the partners and sponsors of the movie probably put in $80,000 to $100,000
wow.
of their stuff to make this movie happen. And I mean, they gave not just bike parts, but they gave, shirts, apparel, background clothing, hats, Pirelli tires, did a whole thing with that and them and product placement with that. But it was kind of a whirlwind, and it really worked out. I mean, Cardo, most people don't know.
We see you, Taylor. Great job.
Most people don't know that in the mix of my career and what I was trying to do and all this stuff of stunt riding, I was Cardo's first sponsored stunt rider.
Oh, cool.
Back before they were even the little Cardos, they were called G9Xs, and it was like this bigger square thing on the helmet. And so like just keeping that going. And in the script, there was a scene in the script that talked about intercom between helmet and helmet. Father training son, helmet to helmet. And I told the director, Kelly, I said, hey, let me show you something. And I showed a video that I had done for Cardo back in the day. And I had made one of the first prototype headsets with the Cardo on the outside and all that. I think they had a prototype too, and I made one. And I made it so that my wife could tell me my stunt run in competition through my helmet.
Right.
So that way I didn't have to keep looking down at a list or, and get lost, and because it happened all the time. And so I showed him this video, and it was like, I didn't know, we didn't know they had those, and that developed the scene of the headset, training.
Yeah. Did he just turn me off?
Yep. And it was hilarious. Like it worked out so well. And so that, I just tried to think, not only do I need their help, I need these sponsors and partners' helps for this movie to make it authentic, but also, it was also my way of, I really wanted to repay them for everything that they did for me when I was an athlete. And, maybe I didn't get to do every single thing that I wanted to do that year for them. And so I felt like, I kind of let them down a little bit. And so this was kind of like
a little payback,
right? And we
cool.
couldn't have done it without them, man.
Well, and it's funny because as you describe, reaching out to some of these sponsors, you talk about authenticity. That's the exact same thing that racers are doing, as they're like hitting up A-stars and they're going, "Oh shit, brought you by."
Hey.
Or Cardo, and it's like, hey, this is my intention for this race season.
Yep.
This is where I'm going to podium. I'm going to give you great, access and all the media content you can handle. Like you literally did the exact same model that is a racer model to align with brands and sponsors. And so that's just further credit to you guys for how you operated. Because you watch the film and it's like, that's what you see in all the paddocks. That's what you see under all the tents.
Yep.
And if they don't have it, they probably want it.
Well, the other thing, a lot of people wouldn't know this, but the main thing here is we're going after real racers to fill, the movie, to fill the background, to be around, and I also...
Little Easter eggs?
Little Easter eggs, but the thing is, normally in movies, they're taping logos off. They're blacking that stuff out. We don't have the rights to this and that. So I was like, how can we get the rights to all these logos on all of these people's bikes without having to it would have been a nightmare to tape everybody's stuff off, and then it wouldn't have looked authentic.
Right.
We need that. And so I was like, well, the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is make them partners. If we make them partners and they give us sign off on our bikes, they give us sign off on everybody else's bikes. And it's all the same companies and same parts and everything for the real racers. That's who we went after.
Yeah.
Worked out really well. Getting back to Triumph, there was a few things that worked very well for them and what they were doing, even 2 years later now, when the movie has finally come out. And there's a lot of, like you said, Easter eggs and foreshadowing that happened in the movie, which was just in all of our brains. We're just, throwing these ideas out and these things and what if this and what if that. And, Triumph was a little, cautious about MotoGP bodywork, doesn't look like their brand and stuff. And the way it all worked out was that sitting down in that first meeting, I knew that their motor was going to be the new motor for MotoGP, Moto2. And they were like, "How do you know that?" And I was like, well, I'm in the industry. I know things. So I was like, I have my guys that I talk to make sure I'm authentic, you know, and what I bring to the table and stuff too. I was like, you know, I have the guys that ran race teams and own race teams and, you know, all this kind of stuff that I was chatting with too. And so the thing is it made a lot of sense. We were doing it because we had no choice. You know, what else do we do? Because we can't just leave the factory bodywork on it and tape the headlights off, right? We could have, but it wouldn't have looked as good. But
there would have been a lot of those.
Oh yeah.
What did you do? I saw.
I believe that stuff like that, and that was some of the stuff that I was personally adamant on. I was like, if you don't use the right parts, if you don't use the right, you know, look, gearing, this, exhaust, I mean, all of it, right? If you don't use it right, it's the first thing any real motorcyclist will pick to death. And it'll just kill your movie. You know, the sounds. Yeah. The bike sounds. If you have a V-twin that sounds like a four-cylinder, it turns them off. Yeah. So, like, we really went at this as authentic as possible, everything real. But the cool thing is Triumph agreed. They said, okay, we can make this connection. We can make this is kind of foreshadowing their brand in MotoGP. You know, this is the motor, this is the look, you know, so you know, the bikers, the racers will squint and go, is that a Triumph? I mean, is that a Daytona? Right. Is that a MotoGP bike? What's a MotoGP bike doing in club racing? How does this work? But I think it came together very well. I really do. And the paint scheme on the bike is modeled after the same paint scheme that's on. When I saw Jadar at the premiere, did he do that? So Jadar Customs painted. Jadar, I think he was my third guest on this podcast. Dude, we gave him no time. The design, the rendering was going back and forth through trial. And we were like, we got to wrap it for time constraints. And one of Triumph's guys, who was also one of the racers in the film, knew Jadar. I guess he paints stuff for Triumph. Like when they have a scratched and dent or they want to change colors, they want to do something for a movie, I guess he's in charge. We gave that man 3 days. 3 days to come up with that paint, to paint the rendering. And it was either vinyl or it was paint. And he's like, I can do it. And he pulled 2 all-nighters and this and that, and he knocked it out of the park, man. Yeah. That bike came out looking fresh. Yeah. And we all put it together, and I helped put the bike together, and we got it together on a Sunday. Was it on a Sunday? Yes. So we worked all day on a Sunday on it and a few of the other bikes. And then Monday morning, we were there, and I believe 6 a.m., the snake bed rolled up. This bike has to go on the snake bed to deliver straight to set to film. That's how crazy time crunch it was. Jadar, dude. Yeah, if you need any paintwork on your bike or any other, you know, I think he does guitars and all sorts of cool stuff. He does, yeah. Jadar's in Gainesville, Georgia. Go check him out at jadarprobably.com. I don't know. Yeah, Jadar Customs is what I know from like social media, stuff like that. Yeah, and he's a musician. He is. Yeah, fantastic musician. Yeah, great guy. Saw him at the premiere again, and we chatted we chatted for a while, and just a great guy. Well, and that premiere was a hoot. I didn't know what to expect, and just as it happens, like you show up, they say, "Hey Sam, you want the microphone?" I go, "Yeah." I was born for this, guys. that was a good time. That was a great job by you, man. I was so thrilled. I was like, "Oh, dude, like." Moving on up. yeah, why not? And then working with Eric Dutch, it's always fun. And then they had prizes for folks. It was funny. I won the 2-day MSF course. Really? Yeah, and then I heard somebody like, yeah, the guy with the carbon fiber helmet needs the MSF course. And I was like, all right, that's actually my seat, so you can give it to somebody else? Yeah. Yeah. He passed it along. Well, so one of the things that I noticed,
through conversations over this last year, and then equally, attending Moto America races, seeing these films come out this year, 2 different motorcycle movies. Motorcycles have always been relevant to culture, and in America, it's traditionally Harleys, right, and that kind of scene. But MotoGP is huge everywhere.
Yeah.
And it seems to be kind of sneaking in here in America more. Like, we didn't grow up with the racers and all those things, where other countries, like, they have their guys, and it's just normal.
Well, we finally got a track here.
We finally got a track, but then also even with speaking back to Moto America, what they're doing with these big bikes, like the bagger racing league and all that stuff. It's finding new fans, and so similar to what you guys are doing with these films, it's showing a side of racing that people aren't really familiar with. Unless you grow up in it, like, you don't happen into a raceway,
right?
And like you're not going to really cruise through a paddock, because like to a lot of people, motorcycles are so intimidating that even going through a paddock that's generally open to the public, so you can actually be firsthand and experience, like, ooh, all this stuff going on. So it's exciting to see all these, new developments for something that's been happening, obviously forever.
Yeah, I mean, going back to when I was racing and doing track days and in it and stuff like that, we had the XR 1200 series. It was the Harley XR 1200 series, and it was by Vance and Hines. And dude, like you said, they were a hoot to watch. It was like, that's not the right sound that you should be hearing. That's so weird. You got the bars and the things, and I'm loving to see the King of the Baggers and all that stuff back. I mean, one of the guys that was racing King of the Baggers that year came to be one of the racers.
Oh, cool.
Michael Barnes. Yeah. Daytona 200 winner, Michael Barnes, and he was doing King of the Baggers, so he was racing and coming in to do our movie. Along with a bunch of other people. There was a bunch of other racers that were racing on the weekend, driving all night to be with us on the weekdays. It was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all of that is coming back around, and then and that's what the movie. That's what this was about too. I mean, anybody that's ever like really seen racing, like if you didn't grow up in it, you didn't know about motorcycles, you're not a motorcyclist, right? Like you said, you haven't gone to a track. You see it on TV. Well, what do you get to see on TV? You get to see MotoGP on TV, and you get to see like World Superbike.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, wow, yeah. So either World Superbike or like AMA, Superbike or British Superbike. Like, it's the top, right? It's the highest top of the line. And I'll be honest with you, a kid or even, 20, 30, 40-year-old, whatever, when they see it, they're like, well, there's no way. That's not obtainable. That's the top. Like, there's no way you can get into that, yada, yada. They don't generally know about the start. They don't know about club racing. They don't know about how you would start in the track days and the sanctioned groups. And that was this movie. The movie was like, do we do, Superbike? Do we do this and that? Because they're all on the same track, basically. And it was very much Kelly Blatt's, the director's dream and vision, to start with the heart. Start with, and we all from day one, we said, if this movie does nothing else, if it doesn't come out great because was difficult to film, no matter what happens, but the reason why I personally fell in love with the script and came in with as much passion, heart. Not only is it what I grew up doing, there's a form where we have seen the last 10 years of just the money leaving motorcycles, leaving the sport. And like some has come back and some has gone and some has come back and this and that, but it is not what it was 10, 20 years ago by any means. Making this movie, we all said, if nothing else, if we could inspire the next generation, if we could make people understand, I could actually do that, that's obtainable. And if we could get companies, sponsors, partners, to understand the worth of motorcycle racing, if nothing else, we would be happy if we had some sort of influence with this movie to strike a little bit of something for some money to get back into it, some talent to get back into it, some just you know, Days of Thunder sparked NASCAR. I mean, it was already a thing, but it sparked it, and so did all these movies that since have done their fields. But this was our chance. This was our time to be like.
Well, I think it's a bigger conversation because what it's doing is and it's what I think I do in the motorcycle space is I find new riders because I make it a lot more attainable because I take the scary out of it and I just the bar's a lot lower to step over to break into that because new riders equals new racers equals new sponsors and what grows the overall. But it's exactly that, and I think what you guys are doing, it's a hoot, and you did a great job, and just like that little kid, or rather KJ carrying that bike. Yeah. We'll save it. You got to watch the movie to know what I'm talking about. But it was very cute, and it's just reminiscent of real life. When you see the movie, you go, oh, my God, I want to do that. That's that moment for him.
Absolutely. And it's funny, the one thing he asked for was that little bike.
Oh, to take away?
Yeah. That was
He didn't ask for a Daytona?
No.
Missed opportunity.
So Kelly Blatz, the director, actually ended up with one of the Daytonas. Okay. Which is perfect. Yeah. That should have gone to him. Triumph kept one for their museum, and then Kelly got one.
Good.
And it's the perfect fit. And my gift to Kelly, from day one, we had gotten an extra Triumph racing suit in. One was for me, one was for KJ, and we had an extra one that didn't really fit anybody, but it was Kelly's size. And they were going to send it back, and I asked the costumer, I said, hey, can that be the director's wrap gift at the end of the movie? And we actually pulled it at the end of the movie, and it's on its way to him right now.
Does he know?
He does know.
He's probably my biggest fan, so he's watching us live. I do believe we're still going on. This is the first time I've done an Instagram live to coincide with the recording.
Very cool.
So he's definitely tuning in.
Oh, yeah. They're all tuning in.
Yeah, for sure.
KJ's in Spain right now filming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's definitely tuning in with all of them. But, yeah, we pulled a couple of gifts. We pulled a couple of cool things. But, yeah, that suit didn't make its way to him during filming. And when we did the wrap out, last month or last couple of weeks ago, we found it, and I was like, that's got to go to him. Yeah. And they're making its way to him right now. So I hope he enjoys that very much because it goes with the bike.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, little things like that. You never know what you'll want, to take away from this and all that kind of stuff. And the production was, the producers and the production was so amazing that they're like, yeah, you can have that. Yeah, you guys should get that. Yeah.
Knock it off the back of the truck.
Right. So, no, they were really cool about it. Yeah. It's been a whirlwind.
Well, so the movie just premiered this last week. It's been out for now just a few days. How is the film doing?
As of right now that I know of, I literally just got tagged in it about 20 minutes ago. The movie is on Amazon Prime, #1 in the world right now, which is crazy. It's crazy. #1 in the world, every country, and it's worldwide distribution, worldwide, exposure. And like you said too, America is not as big as overseas with motorcycles and motorcyclists and racing and all that. So you guys, man, y'all are putting it in there. You're watching it. You're giving the watch hours. You're giving us this cool feedback and all this stuff. And #1 movie.
Well deserved, yeah. Everybody that was there that night that I talked to enjoyed it, and it was a hoot to watch. And knowing it was all you guys, additionally, and hearing Kevin chirp out the whole time doing the movie, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And so you did make mention that in an interview, perhaps there was a soft potential of a number dose.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to give it away or anything like that, but
Right here on the show, Bad Beard Podcast.
The director already said something in his post-premiere interview where he said, will there be a sequel? Is there going to be a sequel?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do some of the stuff we learned on this one in the next one.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but
If it was his words, man.
well, that was fine. But I personally have already built a couple of bikes in hopes that I
There
can
you go.
convince
You just
for
put it
a
out into
movie
the
too.
universe, man. That's it. Or at least that's what you tell your wife while you're building the bikes. You're like, no, I swear there's going to be another one.
I mean, that was definitely my excuse. It was definitely my excuse. I was like, I mean, this bike, and she's like, but that bodywork came from Portugal, from MotoGP, and it was not cheap, and, the strike. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
We've already chatted about the potential of what it could be. And I gave him what I thought
Yeah.
where it could go, but.
Well, I think it'll be exciting, assuming that it does come to fruition. Now that it's out there and people are seeing it as it is, which is an authentic racing movie, it did a good job to represent that locally and then what it intends to be. Now you won't have to be calling sponsors to say, hey, do you guys want to partner? Now they're going to be like, wow, you guys really did a good job to showcase what it is we fucking do.
Yep.
And now they'll be calling you to go, hey. And then that ups the stakes a little bit,
Well, let me give your audience a little bit of advice on sponsorship.
Hit us.
Right? I mean, I think because sponsorship is done usually so incorrectly, right? And I've been a sponsored athlete for so many years. And what happened with me is that's how I could call them. And years later, I haven't ridden for them in, 5-6 years and be like, hey, got a thing. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to convince them, right? And they're like, no, Dave, we remember you, whatever you need. But here's the thing. Most people that have some form of talent, motorcycles, whatever, sponsorship, they think it's kind of that it's owed. It's almost a sense of that it's owed, or like, I have all this. Yeah, and I have all this to give and all that. Cool. Have the mentality that you have all this to give, right? Because that's what it's about. It's a give. That's what sponsorship is. It's an equal partnership of helping each other grow, right? Or else it doesn't make sense. Then you're just giving away money. So my advice is, and the way I went about it, you have to grow. You have to have a relationship with these companies and these people. You have to do what you say. That's the biggest thing. You have to do what you say.
What's this follow-through you're talking about?
So, they're normal people. They understand, like I said there was a few things that I didn't get to do here and there, and I felt terrible about it. And they were like, dude, you did plenty. But when you go for sponsorship, and I'm giving away a little secret sauce here, so this is how I did it. This is how this has happened. This is the way I think this should be done, right? When you call a company and you ask for the marketing manager, because that's the one that handles sponsorship and all this kind of stuff, because you are a marketer. You were doing marketing for that company. You were in sales. You were in commercial sales, basically, kind of thing. You're help selling their product, and that's why they give it to you or whatever. So when you call them up, marketing manager, this and that, tell them what you got to offer. Tell them what you this. Don't ask for sponsorship. And I know most people are like, well, then what's the point? What are we talking here? You want to partner with them. You want to here's the thing. Try not to go through life thinking that you can do everything without putting the work in. Life is hard. Everything's hard. Everything's difficult. If it wasn't, everybody would do it. So when you're at the point where you're like, I am ready to try to help these companies or get some help from these companies, partnership, right? Equal. Tell them, hey, would you consider cost? If it doesn't cost them anything, but they may benefit from it, they are much, much more willing to do that. So, especially since they don't know you, they don't know if you're going to follow through, they don't know this. But the first thing that they will do, if you present a good plan. The first thing they will do is they will partner with you, and they will give you cost. You got to be willing to have at least that money to go for it. Mm-hmm. And then as you do what you're saying, you build a relationship with them, and then it's up to them. They can now come back to you and say, well, no, now you've earned this. You deserve this. We like what we've seen, and they just keep going. And that's what I did. Mm-hmm. That's how this happened in this movie when I called, and they're like, anything you want.
Yeah. You already did the work.
You already did the work. And that's the thing, too. I didn't ask them again for free. Even for the movie. It's a movie. We got budget. Mm-hmm. I just said, help me make it more possible. Mm-hmm. We have this amount of budget. I don't think I can get truly authentic stuff without your help. And man, it was a no-brainer for all of them. They were like, anything you want. Absolutely. We'll overnight ship it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was crazy. So many good companies. They're in the special thank you at the end. That was amazing for everyone to do, for all the companies in the movie. And
take notes, kids.
It's just something I could give back that I learned, over the years, and that, I can help you understand, the way that works and stuff. And maybe you won't get a no.
That's the same kind of mindset I have with this show. And even as we sit in my waterlogged basement with my computer that is now broken, and it's my birthday, and we're still here. We're still here grinding.
Yes,
because you got to put the work in, and all the people that I've played with along the way, and all these fantastic conversations and folks I get to meet. It's exactly that. It's just operating at cost. Just right now, it's sweat equity.
You're right.
And
it's a privateer.
I'm a privateer.
Right? It's the privateer. Yeah. It's you got to do it. You got to go for it. You get some help along the way where you can and when you can, and you hope you're good enough.
If you have the right talent.
If you have enough talent, if you have the thing, the right person will see it, the right person will pick up on it, and they'll come to you. And that's how it really, really works.
Yeah.
Man, this was like my entire life just kind of came into this one spot that I was supposed to be in. And I'm so thankful. It's crazy. I have KJ in Spain filming, literally messaging me. He's posting pictures of us together from set. This doesn't happen. And this is the relationship that we created because of heart, passion to go and make this movie. The director, Kelly, called me. I rushed back from working nights on another show, had like an hour of sleep to get to the premiere and watch it. And, I passed out right after it. So I just forgot to congratulate and call and text or anything. And he calls me the next day to ask me what I thought. And that's the thing. The directors don't call stunt guys, Your actor doesn't normally,
It's a little more transactional, whereas this was so you feel like, obviously you've had a lot to contend with the last few years. Like we all have, but compound that with COVID.
Right.
You've really navigated some huge hurdles to then have this film. It really feels like a validation, like a full circle moment for you. That's got to feel huge. Was it the premiere? Was that when you were aware of it, or was it now after the fact where you realize, oh shit?
I think it's after the fact. I think it's the premiere was, like you said, it was a hoot. It was a whirlwind. People are shouting names and they're screaming my name and they're laughing because, you didn't even make it one lap and you crashed and, and all super good fun, right? But it wasn't until 2 days later that I watched it with my kids, and we had fast forward through a couple of things because, they're 13 and stuff like that. But they've also know the business and know me and stuff like that. But being able to sit down and you couldn't hear a pin drop when we were watching at home, home theater, and we're watching it and it's just quiet. And there was some scenes where, because I built the bikes in our, family shop at the house, and my kids would love to come out and just sit on the race bikes while I'm building them, just sit on them, and like I got them done at 2 a.m. and I loaded them up, and we had to be at the track, 2.5 hours away, bright and early, 6 a.m. The next morning, and the girls are sitting on the bikes, and it's just that very cool family, And when they saw the Frankenstein bike in the movie, they giggled and oh, it's the Frankenstein, because like my youngest or whatever, she didn't name the bike, but she basically could have because it was in the script. Frankenstein is a bunch of different parts put together to create the first race bike, right? And the bodywork came off of something else that was broken from wrecking, and so it was scratched up in this. And we did the old pit crew zip tie it back together, and my youngest comes out and goes, "Oh, it's got stitches like Frankenstein," and I went, "Yes." I'm like, if you say that, everyone else will know that. Yeah. And so they giggled and they this, but man, it was very fortunate, very blessed. It was that, and then literally just my phone has not stopped. It's in my pocket right now, and I think it's buzzed at least 10 times. It's just everything's coming in, and all this stuff's coming in, and I've never, ever, ever in my wildest dream to expect it recognition at all, or this much, or...
Because traditionally, as a stuntman, you're just like, that you're indie number 2.
Yeah.
Don't recognize you, so you can be indie number 4.
Well, it's like the fall guy, right? It's like, we're the unknown, come out of the shadows, do the gag, and then disappear into the shadows, And it's all the actor, and never expected KJ to post a picture of us and call me out as his double. I mean, means a lot to me, bro. Means a lot to me. And the director too, giving me recognition on multiple podcasts and multiple interviews. And Kelly, the director, is the one that gave me the motorcycle coordinator credit and title for the film. It just fit. I was doing so many hats, wearing so many hats, and doing so many things, strictly at first because we just didn't have the time. And I could not let this movie fail or even be less than what I believed the script could be. So I went against everyone and all odds and not my job and this and that, and I just did. Sometimes it's my worst enemy, and sometimes it works out. This one worked out. Yeah. Just making it happen worked out. Yeah. Could have gone a total different way.
Not today.
Yeah, but that was the thing. I'm so thankful to Kelly, the director, to KJ Appa. Eric Dane was awesome to work with. Holy crap. And so was the rest of the cast. The people that introduced us. Rudy Weber. I have big thanks to him.
And what was that introduction to Kelly or to this film specifically?
So I got a call from Rudy Weber, who was the lead, the overseeing head coordinator of the movie, One Fast Move. I got a call from him, and I've known Rudy, a few years now since I've been in the business and stuff like that, and great guy, and we all have similar friends and people and, stunt driving and all that stuff. And I don't even know how he knew that I was a diehard motorcyclist other than, the stuff at Disney. And, I worked at the stunt show at Disney and stuff like that. So, but random call from him. Hey, I might have this motorcycle movie. And I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, yeah, they'll never green light a motorcycle movie.
Yeah.
No, okay, cool. Yeah, call me, let me know. I'd be interested.
Yeah.
Brushed it off. And then a couple weeks later or a month or so later, another call. Hey, more interest of this motorcycle movie. It might go. Again, okay, and I don't know anything about it, I was like, okay, well, just let me know. Again, brushed it off. And then, a month or so later, hey, this motorcycle movie is going to go. The director wants to meet you. Okay, that's not normal. Cool. And so I believe he gave him my number and he called me. The director called me straight up. And we chatted for like 2 hours. Well, they sent me the script first,
right.
Sorry. He sent me the script over, read the script. And then the director called me and we just hit it off. Kelly said to me that he goes, just that first conversation, I caught your passion. I caught your passion for the sport, for the script, for the industry. He goes, you had equal passion for it that he had. And he was like, that's my guy. And then it was just pure luck that I came in and me and KJ looked like each other.
Pretty spot on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taller than him. So that was a big concern. And I was like...
How tall is he?
KJ, I believe, is just under 6 feet.
Okay.
And I'm just above 6'2". But the cool thing about it is I am leg long. I'm not torso long.
So on the bike, it still squares up.
Sitting down, we're the same size. And that's actually how I convinced them to let me do it, because I was like, take my measurements. Because they were ordering leathers, and even the costumers were like, there's no way, you're just too much different, you're too different. And I said, take my torso measurements. And they did, and they were like, y'all are the same. I was like, yeah, it's all leg. I got an extra four inches in my legs and in my arms. I was like, is what it is. But, so I had to be a little more crouched, but I mean, there's no CGI on facial recognition. And we're wearing clear shields, and it's my face at times, and then it's KJ's face the other times, and it's even hard for me to tell.
I posted just a little, that cover art in my story or something like that, and I fudged with it a little bit just to see who was paying attention. But like half the comments were like either people that knew KJ to say, what did you do?
Well, I said that to you too,
didn't I? You said it too. And then
did.
other people were like, is that Dave?
It looked more like me.
Yeah.
It did. It was wild. Like, I looked at it, I was like,
I did some tomfoolery.
That looks more like me. And throw this out there. I know it's probably already in the mix and stuff like that, but I think KJ would make a fantastic Hiccup on the real How to Train Your Dragons movie.
Oh.
When you did the beard and then the hair and because I always thought that I looked like him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just get a couple points for that.
Well, just saying.
In the back in there.
Just throwing it out there. No copyright. Yeah, so that was crazy for that to kind of be a thing and be kind of spot on, and it worked very well. And then I brought in my Yamaha teammate, the stunt riding champion, 4-time champion stunt rider, Bill Dixon. I brought him in to double Eric Dane, the dad. And he looked very similar to him in the helmet too. Somebody did a thing on YouTube where they paused, and it's Bill's face in the helmet, and it looks like Eric. They were similar in size, and it worked out. And my thing was, riding with Bill, being teammates with Bill, touring with Bill, and riding with him for 15 plus years. We would do videos, tandem drifting together, and like literally we would come on either side of the parking lot doing a show, drifting, and literally at the last minute we'd be like, oh, alter this, and miss each other by like an arm's length. And we just knew what each other would do.
Yeah.
And I said, it's the only person that I think can do the job and allow us to be able to get that tight, that close, that tight, and basically breathe on each other while we're do-si and dancing. Like the last scene, the one fast move of the movie. I've had a couple of people like, you're the only one that could have done that. Like I was up inside and then up to the other side and out, and that was that one fast move. And
Is that when he says, I taught him that move?
that was the outside pass.
The
move.
outside pass. Okay.
But the very end of the movie, that iconic one fast move to win the race, that was cool to do. But Bill did a fantastic job. It was the first time he wrecked a motorcycle on purpose. That final sequence, and it was flawless. And,
One and done.
There's a really cool background story to that I may not get into right now, but it was very funny. And
Well, now we need it. When are we going to get into it? Yeah, give it to us.
So we had to do it twice. And you know, it's not a push off. It's a distraction from that move. And the dad looks and doesn't pay attention and he runs off track. And we did it at 80 miles an hour. It was real. 80, 85 miles an hour between then is when he laid the bike down. And it was down the grassy hill. And the first one he did, he locked up the brakes and slid to the grass and then pitched it. And so it was not fast enough. It didn't have the look. It wasn't real. And we go back to the pits, and I had spare parts for the bikes, and we new rear set, new clip-on, new lever, new blah, 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 brushed the thing off. And it's a fun story. I got pretty dirty with him, like not in the sense that you say, but I kind of went dark side with him, and I was like, look, dude, I said, that kind of didn't do it. And he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, it's a lot harder to crash a bike on purpose. I said, isn't it? I said, it is, right? Because remember, this was his first movie. He got tafted into this film. This was his first movie. And he's more a stunt rider than a racer, but we both, raced and did some track days and racing. And I was like, I know. It's hard to crash on purpose, especially to make it real and not get hurt and not kill yourself and all that kind of stuff. And I said, Bill, I said, you're the four-time national champion of stunt riding. I said, I got 2 daughters. You got 2 daughters. I said, Bill, do you want your daughters to see you looking like a chump in this movie? I was like, you got one big job left, and this is it.
You turn them screws.
I said, you got to go into that grass for real, and you have to grab front and rear brake for real, and you just got to do it.
Huck-a-buck.
And I told him, I said, put your purse down. I was poking the bear, man, and man, did he deliver.
Yeah.
He did it. We came back around that corner, and I think he just shut his eyes. I think he just closed his eyes and went for it. Because it was one of the nastiest wrecks.
Was he still about 80, 85, or did he
was
pick it
doing
up?
about 80, 85.
Still,
The first one was about 70, but he probably bled off speed to about 40 before he let it down.
Yeah.
And the one that made the movie was about 80, 85 miles an hour right to his head.
Yeah. He
Literally.
did. Yeah.
And then they slow-moed it. See, that's the thing. They slow-moed it down so you can't really tell the speed. But I'm glad they did because
A little too aggressive.
it would have just been a blip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would have just been like, and if you're sitting there, you're like, wait, what just happened? So I'm glad they slowed it down, a little bit, and because it just slides and slides and slides and slides, and then the bike finally catches and takes off. And that one came out great.
Yeah.
I thought that one came out
Great job, Bill.
Great job, Bill.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Well, great job to you two and everybody that worked on the film. I'm stoked that I got to participate just in the tail end of it with the premiere. But everything we've talked about, I mean, we could talk probably for hours about it. But it sounds like you'll come back for maybe round 2.
I'm game.
Yeah.
I'm game because there's. I mean, we just touched the surface of it. We'll give you guys some time to go see it.
Go see it, and then we'll come back at a little more spoilers.
I love it. I love it. Just the last thing I'll leave with is it's authentic. It's as real as we could make it. The speeds are real. In the movie, take a look at the speedometer. Mm-hmm. So that's me on the bike, POV of Wes, and the speedometer is real.
Accurate.
Check the speeds out. The wrecks are real.
Yeah.
The riders are real, and even the actors are really out there.
Going for it.
On bikes, doing speeds.
Yeah.
With camera in their face, and we all came together, and I'm thankful.
Yeah, you left it all out on the track, man. That's it.
Yep.
Well, at this portion of the show, I know we've been talking about all the accolades of the film and such. This is your time to speak to anything that you want to bring attention to, maybe a link that you'd like shared or whatever. It's your time to shine into this camera or the wide, your choice.
Oh, go watch the film. Heart, passion, blood, sweat, tears. Literally sweat, tears. This film means a lot to me, as I'm sure you all could tell. This film was a lot of me, my life. I'm so thankful to the director, the actors, all of them, but the director for giving me this opportunity, for letting me put a lot of my personal self in the movie, like the racing numbers. 27 is my racing number, and the number 7 is my dad's racing number. And the director, Kelly, like a brother to me, man, and very thankful. And he let me do that for my dad. He let me put 7 in there, and then when I started racing, I just put a 2 in front and became 27, and those are the racing numbers for father and son. And that one probably touches me the most. So thank you for that. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with it. I don't really have links and stuff like that right now.
No.
I'll let it be the movie.
Amazon.com.
Yeah, Amazon Prime, original movie, worldwide distribution. I mean, go watch it. Got a little bit for everybody. Got stuff for the racers. Got stuff for normal, the general public. KJ's shirtless in a lot of it. Very, very, very shirtless. But yeah, super thankful, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And cheers to you and everybody that worked for it. And thanks, guys, for watching and tuning in. And we're going to check and see how this live worked out. Maybe this is something that we can continue doing in the future. But I think I'm going to cut this together right now and put it out right now.
Awesome.
And stay tuned for what we have coming. It's always exciting. It's always different, but it's always awesome.
Yee.
So until then.
Bad Beard.
Hey. Oh, invite me to your next premiere. I'm great. MC.
Always,
right
always,
here.
bro.
So with that, I come over here and hit this button.